On Sky News Business, this is Business Class.
Hi, I'm James Wilkinson and welcome to Business Class. Today we're 500 metres above Hong Kong at the luxurious Ritz-Carlton Hotel. Before we take you inside this hotel, here's this week's travel news. In travel news this week, Marriott International's Westin brand is set to debut in South Australia in 2022 as part of a redevelopment of the iconic Adelaide GPO. The Westin Adelaide will be housed in a 15-storey tower with all 285 guest rooms offering sweeping views of the city skyline and Victoria Square. Guests will also enjoy the hotel's extensive leisure facilities, including the brand's signature Westin Workout Fitness Studio, a resort-style outdoor swimming pool, and the Heavenly Spa by Westin. In Victoria, the company's design-driven AC Hotels by Marriott is set to debut in Australia with the signing of a 200-room hotel in Melbourne. The AC Hotel by Marriott Melbourne South Bank will open in 2020 as part of a dynamic mixed-use development. The hotel will feature a range of collaborative spaces, including the AC Lounge, a modern co-working space for creative gatherings by day, and a buzzing social hub offering European-style tapas by night. The hotel will also offer a range of leisure facilities, including an outdoor swimming pool spanning the width of the building, plus a 24-hour fitness centre and 3 food and beverage outlets, including the AC Lounge. In New Zealand, TFE is set to operate the Hotel Britomart in the city's thriving arts and fashion district. Construction began this week on the building, which will feature a 99-room hotel alongside a cafe-style lobby space. The hotel is set to open in 2020. In airline news, Air New Zealand is giving customers a taste of the future with a new in-flight collaboration with Silicon Valley food tech startup Impossible Foods. The airline has become the first in the world to serve the plant-based Impossible Burger, which features a patty that cooks, smells and tastes like beef, but contains no animal products whatsoever. Let's find out more.
Kia ora. At Air New Zealand, we've teamed up with Silicon Valley startup Impossible Foods to offer the much talked about plant-based Impossible Burger as part of our business premiere menu. It's the first time the burger will be served in flight anywhere in the world, and you're among the very first customers able to try it.
You would have never known that was not meat in that burger. I took the first bite and it was amazing.
The Impossible Burger tastes like real meat because it actually generates flavor the same way. So we studied what was involved in that. What are the precursors? What are the components that are necessary to generate flavor on cooking, like meat does? And one of the things we discovered was the critical role of heme.
The Impossible Burger tastes like real meat because we go and understand at the molecular level each of the components to drive each of the sensory experiences. So for the textural components to give that chew down and the juiciness, we have wheat protein and we have potato protein. For the flavor, we discovered heme. So we have light hemoglobin that in the raw state is metallic. And upon cooking, it reacts with simple nutrients like sugars, vitamins, and amino acids to create the full aroma of meat flavor, those caramelized, delicious meat notes. We also have some xanthan in konjac to bind it together for all of the raw handling properties. And then we have coconut oil, which is really that delicious fat to bring the mouth coating, the cooking properties, and really to deliver that delicious flavor generation by heat.
In our business premiere menu, we always have a burger. It's a staple, we can't take it off because our customers love it. So we've offered different burgers over time, and this is the first time we've had the opportunity to be able to offer a plant-based patty. We think this burger is going to appeal to everybody. It's really delicious. So whether you're a vegetarian, a flexitarian, or a straight-out omnivore, we think you're going to love it.
When the opportunity came up to work with Air New Zealand, we jumped on it. You know, it's an international airline, it's hugely respected, and this is going to be the very first time that our burgers are served in the air.
I wish I could watch their expressions because when I've seen family members or friends take their first bite of the burger and then, look, this is 100% from plants, and they bite into it and it's like, wow.
We'll be serving the burger from the 1st of July in our business premiere cabin, and it will be flying from Los Angeles to Auckland twice a day.
Still on airline food, and Qatar Airways has revealed a series of enhancements to its economy class onboard menus designed to alleviate customers' experience when they travel with the airline. The new enhancements, which will become available in a phased introduction across the airline's network from July 1, include an increase of 25% in content for all economy class hot meals served on board. Domestically, Virgin Australia is adding new direct services between Hobart and Perth, becoming the only airline to offer this route in Australia. From September 17, Virgin Australia will operate a 3 times per week return service between Hobart and Perth on the airline's Boeing 737 aircraft. The new flights between Hobart and Perth are now on sale, with advanced purchase fares starting from $269 one way. When it comes to in-flight dining, Virgin Australia offers some of the best meals in the sky. Right after the launch flight from Sydney to Hong Kong a couple of weeks ago, we spoke to Virgin Australia's consulting chef, Luke Mangan.
Well, Luke, we're up in Hong Kong, and one of the newest additions to Virgin's network, Sydney-Hong Kong flights, and made a bit more of a fun challenge for you from a food standpoint.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I love coming to Hong Kong. It's got great restaurants, hotels, etc. Love seeing the markets, and that gives me a lot of inspiration towards the menus.
And years ago, you used to consult with Virgin Atlantic when they used to fly down to Sydney, and how different are the menus on board now between the two airlines?
Well, you know, that was 10, 12 years ago, and I think, you know, I've been involved with Virgin Australia now for 8 years, and I think what we're trying to do in the air is create that restaurant in the sky experience, and I think a lighter, cleaner, fresher approach on the food, and everyone's health conscious nowadays.
How fine dining tends to go on a plane?
Well, I mean, you know, we're not trying to get at fine dining. I don't like eating fine dining as much anymore, and I think it's got to be light, clean and fresh, and simple as well.
And having different kinds of options, you've got healthy options, you've got fish options, you've got meat options, you've got snack options as well. So obviously a lot of different meals the crew has to prepare on a plane.
Yeah, big variety, and I think, you know, it's all about giving the customer what they want when they want, and I think that's a really important thing, because that's what people want when they're flying in the front of the plane.
The trolleys are gone, it's dine on demand, it's sort of whenever you want to eat. And what kinds of different meals are you seeing at the moment that people really want to have?
I think, you know, going back to that lighter approach, the healthier approach, and people want freedom as well. If they want to have a sleep or rest or read a book or whatever, and that's important. And also the wine program we're involved with too, getting involved. We've got my head sommelier, Maro, from our restaurant in Sydney, Glass, and that's important to make sure wines work with the food as well.
Do our palates change much in the air?
You lose about 30% of your taste buds in the air, and I guess with our food, what I like to do is create a bit of influence of spice, but not a hot spice. It'd be more a fragrant spice, a curry spice or something like that. A little bit more lemon juice in a salad dressing, or a little bit more vinegar or something that just lifts your taste buds. And with wine, we've blended our own wines as well from board, and that's important as well.
You're able to replicate some of your best dishes in the air, and how much of a fun challenge is that for you?
Oh, look, I would say 60 to 70% of our food on the ground is served in the air. You know, I'll try a lot of dishes out at our restaurant Glass or our test kitchen in Dang Street in Sydney, and make sure that we can serve that in the restaurant, and then it'll be served in the air. So that's important to us.
Where's the best place for a steak, Luke? Glass or on board Virgin Australia on one of the international flights?
Well, very good question. The steaks are good in all the places we serve. That's what I'll say.
I guess it is fun getting it to a point now where it really truly is restaurant dining.
Yeah, I think so, and I think, you know, we've got test ovens in our test kitchens on the ground, so we can test the food in those ovens to make sure what's served in the air is going to be exactly what, you know, we want.
Now it's time for this week's Foodie Files with Nesia Wilden.
Thank you, James. Well, I'm just back from Adelaide, where I checked out 2 rather different winery restaurants, both of them within easy reach of the city. In fact, the first one is pretty much in the suburbs. But don't be alarmed, because McGill Estate is about as far from a suburban dining experience as it's possible to get. McGill Estate's not just the spiritual home of Penfolds and Grange, complete with secret cellar. It's also home to an elegant modern dining room helmed by one of Australia's best chefs, that's Scott Huggins. Dinner here sent the pleasure measure right off the dial. Huggins' style is elegant, contemporary and playful, but what really did it for me was his mastery of meat cookery right across the 7-course tasting menu. Yep, it's hard to imagine how anyone could get greater length and depth of flavour in dishes like the aged Aylesbury duck with oats and ginger beer, or the Mayura Station Wagyu with Japanese mustard. Now, of course, you want to know about the wines at McGill Estate. Unlike a lot of high-end restaurants these days, the hefty wine list here is more than just a virtual experience. And by that I mean they've kept the prices realistic. In fact, there's plenty of choice under the $80 mark. And yes, naturally, you can have Grange by the glass, but if you prefer something a little more accessibly priced, have the 2016 Cellar Reserve Grenache. You can't go wrong. So, from the burbs of Adelaide to McLaren Vale and the Cube, the $15 million architectural surprise in the middle of a vineyard at Darrenberg Winery. It opened last December and is now attracting up to 1,500 visitors a day. But before we get to the art, what's for lunch? Well, you can either do the avant-garde degustation at the Cube itself. That's 11 courses and it takes about 5 hours. Or you can take a more conservative route at Darry's Veranda Restaurant, that's in the 19th century homestead on the property. The food's good, the cooking's accomplished, and the servings are country-sized. So from there, it's something of a culture shock to walk into the Alternate Realities Museum that's on the ground floor of the Cube. Well, that's the whole point. On one level, the Cube is a big house of fun from the mastermind of winemaker Chester Osborne. It's really a wacky, trippy, psychedelic, interactive experience, and it works just as well for kids as it does for grown-ups. On another level, the Cube is a deep, imaginative engagement with wine and wine education, the likes of which has never been seen before in this country. And it's worth making the point, all the label's wines will be certified organic and biodynamic for the 2018 vintage. Well, that's it for Foodie File this week. After the break, it's back to James Wilkinson.
You're watching Business Class on Sky News. Welcome back to Business Class.
The Ritz-Carlton in Hong Kong is one of the tallest and most luxurious hotels in the world. Let's check in now and find out why. Well, right now we're almost 500 metres above the ground here at the beautiful Ritz-Carlton in Hong Kong, and what an amazing hotel you have.
Well, we definitely have an amazing hotel, and what is great is not only it's very high, but once you're very high, the view that you have is incredible, because Hong Kong is made of man-made building, harbour, the Victoria Harbour, mountains, so it's quite a stunning experience to be here, yes.
You usually see views like this from an aeroplane when you're flying over Hong Kong and not actually when you're in Hong Kong.
That's correct. Sometimes you feel like you're on a plane, except you don't move. And actually, very often you see helicopter flying below the building, which is actually quite nice.
And right now we're in what's regarded as probably the best club lounge anywhere in Asia.
I don't think it's probably the best club lounge. I think it is the best club lounge. You're on the 116th floor. You see the Victoria Harbour, you see Tsim Shat Tsui, you see Tai Mo Shan, the tallest mountain in Hong Kong, is only 900 meters. You know, it's our hotel is more than half the height of the highest mountain in Hong Kong. That's interesting.
And if you look at what you offer in the lounge here, you've got meals throughout the day, you've got beverages throughout the day, and impeccable service.
Well, you know, the good thing about the lounge is that we open 24 hours, because we want the lounge to be your living room away from home. So you can have a breakfast at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, you can have a champagne at 3 o'clock in the morning, you can have a cup of coffee. So basically you don't need to go back to your suite or your room. You can stay in the lounge whenever you like and do whatever you like. And
some very well appointed rooms and beautiful bathrooms here as well.
I would say definitely yes. You have beautiful suites. You have 312 rooms. You have many of them Victoria Harbour, some have the mountain view, some other have the South China Sea view. So wherever you are in a hotel is going to be something amazing. And some guests ask for high floor, but any room are high floor because we start on 105th floor anyway.
And a number of restaurants in the hotel as well.
Well, not only the numbers, but we have 2 Michelin star restaurants, Italian and Chinese. We have a caviar bar, we have a luncheon bar, but amazing, we have an ozone bar. That's the highest hotel in the world. You're on the 118th floor, and the great part of it is that we have an outdoor terrace. So imagine the tallest building in Hong Kong, highest hotel in the world, and you're outdoor. Isn't that
It really gives a meaning to the term rooftop bar, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. That's really a rooftop bar. That's a real rooftop bar. Totally, yes.
So a lot of people come here for these experiences, not just to stay in the hotel. So obviously a lot of pressure from a quality standpoint across the board, and not just guests staying here, isn't there?
Yes, you know, if you want to be successful in a hotel in any market, you need to appeal to the local community, especially for the restaurant. So a lot of people come to the hotel for brunch, they come in for a drink, they bring their friends because they want to show the view. So you really have to be very successful with Hong Kong people. You have to make sure they like the food, they like the service, and we're doing a pretty good job at that, I have to say. From
a business travel perspective, obviously it's very convenient having the Airport Express downstairs and next to the Westin Tunnel.
You're not fancying from the airport. You're 25 minutes by Airport Express, you're 25 to 30 minutes by taxi, and there's only one traffic light, and it's right at the bottom of the building. So, and if the light is green, that means you have no traffic light to the hotel.
And this area is buzzing, isn't it? You've got the Guangzhou rail station coming shortly as well, and a lot of redevelopment going on around this part of Kowloon.
Yes, well, we have the bullet train station, that's right, from Shenzhen or Guangzhou that will open in September. But also very interesting is the cultural city. You can see it from down below the hotel. You can see the Chinese opera is almost finished. You can see the museum almost finished. So you will be able to walk from the hotel to the cultural city, to the bullet train station, to the MTR station. You can already walk there. So it's really going to be kind of the new center of Hong Kong, I can say in many ways.
What's interesting is when you're up here, we're above the clouds some days of the week. Now when the clouds are in, you don't have a view, so it's all about what's really inside the building, and you've got some really beautiful rooms and you've got beautiful club lounges. And how important is it then to make sure that aspect of the stay is impeccable?
There's 2 aspects of the stay that are important. One is the warmth of our ladies and gentlemen and the efficiency. That's very important. The other one is the design of the hotel, and it's been designer from Singapore. You have some Japanese designer get involved. So everywhere you go, there's something very unique. And you're talking about the cloud. The funny thing about the cloud is you can be partially in the cloud. I remember sitting on Ozone Terrace, had a cloud at the end of the terrace. I couldn't see the guests anymore, and suddenly the cloud moved. I was in a cloud, and all of a sudden no more cloud. So you are really inside the cloud, outdoor. It's amazing.
It's pretty hard to beat for hotels in Asia from a business and leisure perspective, isn't it?
Yeah, because the only place you could experience something like this would be on top of a mountain. But then you can have champagne, eat some caviar, and you don't have to hike. You take a 72-second lift shuttle, and you're on top of the building. So no sweat, very comfortable, a lot of fun.
Certainly is indeed, and thank you for having us here this week.
Pleasure, thank you so much. Great to have you with us.
Now it's time to find out about the world-class restaurants here at the Ritz-Carlton Hong Kong. Well, Chef, we're here atop the Ritz-Carlton in Hong Kong, and you've got some of the highest restaurants in the world and also some of the best restaurants in Hong Kong, don't you?
Yes, we do have, we're quite lucky. We have, Ozone is the highest bar, it's still 496 meters tall. And then Tin Lung Hin, we have now for 6 consecutive years, we have gained 2 Michelin stars. And our Italian restaurant Tosca, overlooking the beautiful Victoria Harbour, also been blessed with 1 Michelin star. Right.
And some very famous dishes in your restaurants as well that are earning the Michelin stars.
Yes, well, this is, of course, it's Michelin is always about consistency, and we have 2 particular dishes which we're using the Iberico pork for the barbecue pork in Hong Kong, and the young coconut soup with chicken and fish more, which people usually they come here particular for these 2 dishes.
And when you look at sort of being in Hong Kong, and you have to offer some pretty amazing food. Like this city is notorious for having incredible cuisine.
Yeah. Well, this is, as you mentioned, is a lot of competition. So of course, we need a very good relationship with our supplier. Make sure we always get something unique, the best quality at all the time, and it's about always the consistency. Somebody coming here and had a great meal. Next week is coming, and we cannot drop the quality. So we have to put a lot of work and work with a supplier and make sure we're getting the consistent quality all the time.
And what are some of your favourite ingredients to cook with at the moment across the board?
for me, because when you're in Asia and you're coming from Europe, of course, I think, ginger have a very, interesting flavor profile. It have some heat, some spices and so on, but it can be quite soothing. So it's kind of, and can enhance the dishes, I think, as a dish which really have a big potential and is an incredible flavor.
And when you look at some of the dishes that are on offer across the board, you've got obviously very different kinds of cuisine here, don't you? So that's obviously a lot of different chefs in all the kitchens that you oversee.
Yeah, you have from the Italian to the Chinese, but it's good, this diversity is keep you going, keep you always fresh, right? We do also now, healthy is more popular. We have an organic salad bar, which is very interesting. You have to get to yourself into this kind of food, plant-based and so on. But there's a trend, so yeah, you need to be always update yourself as well.
There is a big trend, isn't there, with the whole plant-based cuisine at the moment?
Yeah.
Is that challenging in Asia for you at the moment, being in Hong Kong?
It's improved, when, let's say, 10 or 15 years, there's very little resources in terms of organic products coming in, or plant-based was not really known. Really developed, I think, over the last couple of years, last 5 years, and really, I think early this year, there is a lot of things on the market, particularly from the States, from vegan, plant-based burger items and so on, and people really, are going for this one. It's a trend, and it's a health also conscious and environmental friendly as well.
Do you have a couple of favorite dishes across the restaurants that you're loving at the moment?
Well, I'm always a fan of the barbecue pork, for sure. I think it's in Tosca we always have one particular pasta is a homemade fusilli. It's really have a beautiful texture, and it's something a little bit more unusual. And then in Ozone we have our mini Wagyu burger, which has been there since day one, and they are just incredible. Yeah.
Chef, thank you so much for your time. Looking forward to trying some of the food.
Please, looking forward to see you here. Thank you.
Now let's head up to Ozone, the highest bar in the world, and see what's stirring, shaking and mixing. So we're up here at Ozone, which is the highest bar in the world, and what are you shaking, mixing and stirring?
Well, right now it's a lot of shaking and mixing, and this bar is really exciting to be up here. And the new projects that we have, so we're going to be making it quite exciting things out all around. So,
what kind of cocktails are you looking at? Classics and also modern cocktails as well?
Well, my background is classics, so we're going to looking for a lot of touch and twist them up. So it's going to be exciting.
And so you've only been here for a couple of months now, and what kind of drinks do people like up here? Is it a bit of a mix of everything?
Well, it's a lot of mix, because it's multinational here as well, so it's a lot of interesting stuff coming up, and in my mind to start making some things up.
So when you're creating a cocktail list up here, you're going to think very international, don't you, given the audience?
Yes, it is. It isn't just local. I mean, it's a lot of influence in Asia, so I wanted to do to guys test of a little bit of the local thing, and then also a little bit of touch of myself.
And also, when you look at, so you've come out of London, and obviously there's a lot of small batch bourbons and rums and gins at the moment. Are you seeing that here in Hong Kong since you've been here?
A lot of influence about gins and a lot of influence about whiskies are on it, and then we try to put a lot more stuff come up, so to taste and get the audience a little bit of taste of everything too.
And very quirky, being so high up here in the clouds, aren't you, literally?
It is. It is so exciting to be in the top of the top.
But so different from a bar perspective, isn't it? Rather than being in an underground bar somewhere through a hidden door, you've got this amazing terrace out here that's almost 500 metres in the sky.
Yeah, it is a lot of inspiration as well. It's a lot of fresh air coming up. So it's not just you in the field that you don't see surrounded for four walls. You got the sky.
And have you got a couple of favourite cocktails right now that are definitely going to make it on your new list?
There's a lot of influence with teas, a lot of influence with herbs. So we're working on it. So.
Well, that's it from us in Hong Kong. Thanks for watching, and see you next time on Business Class.